You were making the point that in many ways NATO is more important now than ever. Let me ask you this. Is it possible to have NATO headquartered in Brussels and a European Union defence union quartered in Brussels?
Well, I think when it comes to military command and control and strategy, having a divided leadership and divided forces has never worked. And in fact, that's why we went through in the United States something called the Goldwater-Nichols Act, which sought to unify forces under one commander. So, no, I don't think you could have a fractured command in terms of military. But as I was saying, it's not just military. Economically, trade, financially, academically, politically, we need to be unified as a free world together, opposing the Russians and Chinese and authoritarianism that's rising and spreading everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, there seems to be no sign, certainly with us, in terms of the Biden administration of putting a trade deal together. So you would argue that actually trade, security, defense, all these things should work hand in glove.
Absolutely. If you're going to say that Putin is a problem, then buying Russian gas is a big problem, and then not sanctioning the Chinese when they are providing the relief valve for Russian gas is an even bigger problem. You know, we have spent 30 years tying ourselves economically, particularly to China. China's supporting Russia. They're trying to play like they're not, but they actually are. They're buying their gas. They're giving them the relief valve that they need when Nord Stream 2, for example, was shut off.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And let me ask you one more question, slightly different sphere, but a similar theme, and a very hard question. But it's been noticeable just how loud the Chinese noise has become around Taiwan. You know, quite repeatedly, state television saying Taiwan is a part of China, period. What do we do? What does America? I mean, you know, America's made some guarantees, but what do we do as a Western world if China tries to move on Taiwan?
Most Americans aren't aware that it was actually a Brit, Prime Minister Churchill, that came to America and said, we've got a problem. He gave the Iron Curtain speech, not in Europe. He gave it in St. Louis. Yep. And so what we need to recognize is we're in Cold War #2. And this is going to be a long drawn out struggle. I don't think we're going to be able to stop the Chinese from invading Taiwan, just like we weren't able to stop Putin from invading Ukraine. In fact, I think that's the pact between the two. In other words, China's going to look the other way while they move into Ukraine, just don't do it during the Olympics. And then they're going to go into Taiwan and Russia's going to support that. So that's the world we have to face. It's just like Berlin, you know, in 1948. We're going to have to think about how do we rescue people that need to be rescued? How do we resupply? Just like we're doing with Ukraine now. But ultimately, it's going to be a long-term struggle between the forces of good against the forces of evil.